It's personal for you. You've got a lot of close family members there. And I just wonder if we could step back, because now you're here and you're living the American dream and you're vaccinated, and any American over 16 can get vaccinated. And I wonder what it's like for you to be in this position and then look at what's happening in the country you love.
The situation there is dire, and it's been heartbreaking to see. And I think the worst is yet to come. What's been heartening, at least being here, is definitely seeing the attention here. I realize that at the highest levels, from President Biden, Secretary Blinken, there's been focus on engaging to see how we can help India and the other countries being affected. And particularly over the last weekend, in an unprecedented way, more than 100 CEOs, the U.S. Chamber, the Business Roundtable, and the U.S.-India Strategic Partnership Forum came together with the administration to mobilize and do our part to help. So that's been good to see, and India deserves our attention right now.
India deserves their attention right now. And you think the worst is still to come. I know you met with Secretary Blinken. Dr. Ashish Jha, also an Indian American, said only the United States has the capacity, resources, and technological know-how to bend India's catastrophic second wave of disease. What more did you tell Secretary Blinken you want the Biden administration to do?
I think there was a lot of focus on making sure anything we can do to increase vaccine production and supply, is being mobilized, helping with oxygen concentrators and supplies. And then different companies have different capabilities, and the U.S. government has its unique capabilities. From our side, we are really focused on providing the most helpful information. There are 600 million people connected to the internet, and they're really looking for information about vaccine and testing. And so working with the Ministry of Health in India, making sure we can get the right information on the ground has been a big focus for us, as well as partnering with the NGOs and public health organizations to get the messaging out. And it's important when people are able to stay home and mask and stay safe. And so we are helping get the message out in partnership.
On the first issue that you just mentioned, Sundar, which is vaccine supply, the U.S. will send its AstraZeneca vaccine, some of it, to India when the FDA gives the green light on that. But there's also the question of the intellectual property, as you know, the recipe for these vaccines. And India asked the World Trade Organization 6 months ago to waive that IP protection. And the U.S. has not voted and not raised its hand supporting a waiver like that. A lot of experts, including the congressman that represents your district, Ro Khanna, believe the U.S. should support that, believe that would help India. Do you believe that IP waiver should be granted?
Well, two things. I was more involved in the conversations around, providing raw materials, supply access so that India can continue manufacturing its vaccines. I'm not familiar enough around the issues around IP protections for vaccines to weigh in on them. I was very encouraged by the U.S. announcement for the 60 million AstraZeneca doses to India and other countries. And this pandemic will involve us tackling it globally. And while as in the U.S. we are very fortunate, we need to work hard over the next months to make sure we can get as much vaccine supply around the world as possible.
When I look at the numbers in what is now Chennai, India, right, where you were born, I mean, they're expecting over 1 million cases there. Yesterday alone, 4,600 positive cases. You've talked about companies having, in your words, a sense of responsibility to society in this moment. What is your call to corporate America? Companies as big as Google and small companies, what can they do that will make a meaningful difference to the people in India?
I think a couple of things. For me, most companies there now have a presence and, in fact, have employees that are contributing to the U.S. economy here. I think, taking the expertise in your company where you can and being ready to help in a coordinated way is going to be helpful. The second is, where possible, to provide cash and other resources directly to organizations on the ground. I think can make a big difference. And You mentioned Chennai. It's where I grew up and where my extended family is, and I think the impact is pretty dire. But India is a very resilient country, and I see people being resourceful and doing everything they can to cope up.